Hope you're having a good day. I hope you're having a good week. I came here to um, talk about a part in the Bible that I called the fisherman. um, so I hope that there's some information that we can pull from this. I'm not a preacher. I have no professional interpretations or anything like that. But I think that the Bible speaks to us every time that we read it. And sometimes things are hard to understand. And so, what I'm trying to do is just uh, explain, I guess, um, how it comes off to me, how I understand it as I read. Um, and the funny thing about the Bible is you can go and read the same verses, the same story one day, and you're able to pull information from it from that day and go back another time, in another part of your life, and you can it you can interpret it or understand it in a completely different way. I think that's part of the magic of the Bible, because it is the written word of God. These are things that He wants us to know and understand. And in different chapters of life, there's things that we need to hear, or that we need to know. And in that instance, there's been several times where I can go back and read the same thing that I read last year, but I'm in a completely different place in my life or chapter in my life. And it's like I'm reading the same stuff, and I know that, and I know how I understood it before, but there's just a little something that is revealed to me. I know that happens to other people too. So, anyways, I want to talk to you guys today about a fishing trip. So, after Jesus had gone to the cross and risen after 3 days, there's some men, disciples, that are out fishing. And they're out there, they've been fishing all day and had no success. I don't know if they were out there fishing for food for themselves and families, or what their purposes were. I'm sure one of the reasons is to feed themselves. So at the beginning of this story, let me give you so this is John 21:15. So in the Bible, it says that the guys are out there, and Peter's one of the disciples that was out there. And so they've been fishing all day. They haven't caught anything. And so afar on the shore, they see a man. At the time, he didn't know that it was Jesus. But Jesus says, cast the net on this side of the boat. And so they did that. They pulled it up. It was overflowing with fish. And so they were so excited. And at some point they realized that Jesus was there. That was Jesus talking to them. And so they go to the shore. They weren't that far out, so it didn't take them very long. But they get up there, and there's a fire going. And so it's nice and warm. They've got something to cook their fish on. And so, sorry. So they go up there and they have dinner. They make some fish and all of that. And after their meal, Jesus had a conversation with Peter. And Jesus asked Peter, "Do you love me more than these?" The way that I'm seeing it is that when he says, "Do you love me more than these?" he's probably talking about the other fishermen. I could be wrong on that, but that's kind of how I read it. And so Peter replied, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." And in return, Jesus said, "Feed my lambs." And again, he asked, "Do you love me?" And Peter again, more intensely maybe, said, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." And Jesus responded, "Take care of my sheep." And again asked, "Do you love me?" And Peter at this point felt dismayed and replied, "Lord, you know all things. You know that I love you." And Jesus said, "Feed my sheep." And Jesus continued on and said, "When you were younger, you dressed yourself and you went where you wanted to go. But when you get older, you're going to have to stretch your arms out for someone else to dress you and take you somewhere you don't want to go." And next, and I think this is a really powerful statement that we really need to understand. Jesus said, "Follow me." And to me, what the way I understand it is that Jesus is saying, you know, I always say it like this: we've got all these different chapters that we live in our lives. Childhood, teenager years, the early 20s, the late 20s, the 30s, the 35, on and on and on. And it seems like because we do evolve in as people, as we get older, as we learn things, as we understand things better. I think Jesus is saying through all of these things, good or bad, when you can dress yourself and when you can't, whether you're where you want to be, whether you're not where you want to be, Jesus is saying, follow me. And I think that's really powerful. And it's a good message to some people, to all people. But I'm not the only one that has had some rough patches in life. And the important thing to pull from that is that no matter what's going on in our lives, just follow Jesus. As you put your eyes on the cross, because that's what you really need to do. As you're walking through life, and it's this path that we're following, we call life. And I don't remember what sermon or who preached it, so my apologies for that. But it really resonated with me that he said, keep your eyes on the cross. So a lot of times when I'm going through hard times, I remind myself to keep my eyes on the cross. Because as we're walking through life, there's all these things, the challenges that we face during life. And how do we get through those? They're hard. You break your heart. You just never know. But the most important thing, Jesus said right here, follow me. Keep your eyes on the cross. And as you walk through this journey, down this path, all these things fall to the side. It's not that you're not having to deal with it, but they seem to be easier when we invite Jesus in. It's like, Jesus, I can't do this without you. I don't even know how to start. I don't know how to finish. And I'm not trying to get off topic because I really think this is one of the most important things that stuck out to me when I was reading this was when Jesus said, follow me. Because as we walk through life, there's all sorts of things that can happen to us, and all we need to do is just follow him. And when Jesus is asking Peter several times, do you love me? I don't think it's because it was a question in Jesus' heart and his mind and his infinite wisdom. I don't think he was asking that because he didn't know. Jesus knew that Peter loved him. And I think what he was doing was making it make Peter just really focus on what he's saying. Where Jesus is saying, if you love me, you'll take care of my lambs. You'll feed my sheep. And the sheep, the lambs, that's us. Those of us, we are the children of God, and we are his sheep. We are Jesus's sheep. If you've read other parts of the body, you'll see where God refers to us as his children, his sheep. There's other things I have to say about sheep, but the whole point is that Jesus is asking us to take care of the children of God. Those of us who follow Jesus, that we take care of each other. And I think that's something that is kind of feels like it's falling apart in this world sometimes. There's people, well, I'm not going to get into all of that, but it's a good reminder. It's a good reminder. If you see your neighbor or someone else, and God's provided a way for you to help, or you have the ability to help other people that are Christians, even the ones that aren't, that we need to take care of each other. And one of the things is when Jesus says, feed my lambs, take care of my sheep, part of that as being children of God. So we need to have that relationship with Jesus and with God. So we need to lift each other up, support each other, hold each other accountable. That's a really good, important one. So I digress. So I hope that you were able to pull something out of this. Oh, there was something else. I think there's several things that we can pull from this story. That Jesus provided the fish. He provided the fire where they could cook their dinner. And if they were cold and wet, they could dry and warm up. Right? So what was Jesus doing there? He was feeding his sheep. He was taking care of his sheep. And secondly, I just, Jesus does this where some people get confused. I'm having a hard time with this. If y'all don't already know, I have a brain tumor. I'm fighting it. And so sometimes I kind of space out. That's what you call a brain seizure. So forgive me for that. Just hang in there with me, please. It's so important that we share and talk with each other, fellowship. But I think that is the example that Jesus was trying to give. He provided the fish. He provided the fire, the warmth. He took care of his sheep. And he takes care of his sheep now. And as Christians, he wants us to help each other and plant seeds. I honestly believe if you are not already putting in your work, you need to start. Because as we see these things that are going on around the world, everything's getting more intense. These are the labor pains that I believe that the Bible talks about. I don't know how soon, but we're definitely closer and closer. Like, it feels like day by day, month by month, year by year, everything is so intensifying. And so we need to be out there doing our work. And that work that I'm talking about is reaching out, helping other people, because we are the salt and the light. And when we are snatched up in heaven, there's not going to be any more light. The light that we provide, the salt and the light that we give in the world, people that are around us, it's going to be gone. So the time to do it is now. Talk to that person that you've been feeling the Holy Spirit nudge you. Hey, you need to talk to them. Go talk to them. Take them out to lunch. If it's somebody that needs help with groceries, maybe go get some groceries for them. And when you drop them off, have a little conversation. Go have some coffee with them. Whatever your approach to it, because everybody's different. You're an original person, and you're the only person that can do the job the way that you can. So it's really important. I'm sorry I've kind of rambled on a little bit this morning, but I hope you got something from this. I hope you share it. I hope you like it. I hope you can subscribe. My passion in doing this is reaching out to some people that maybe they need to hear this. I'm trying to put my work in here. So I appreciate you guys. God bless your day, and I hope to see you next time.